That's okay. Now I know.
A lot of people stayed on for long, but I only watch a live for like a minute, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
No. Same.
I should have put like.
That's.
Can I tag you and then leave it pinned? Is that a thing?
There we are. Okay, so I might have fucked up for a little while. Just this is the problem with not having a Jamie, I guess.
Yeah, you need a Jamie.
I need a fucking Jamie. It's all good.
Um,
We're still ripping. Fuck it. You know, it's just a game. But yeah, fucking.
I shared it so that way people can see it.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome. Yeah. So I guess there's like a weird like we've never had this before. We never had where you can make a living off your ass.
Yeah.
I think that's like some shit. Like,
Is this how we're starting the podcast now?
We're restarting that right here.
Making a living off your ass. Yeah, welcome everybody.
Yeah, here we are, BopCast, where you make a living off your ass. You have to, you have to get up off your ass and do it, but yeah, you have to build it. You have to do fucking hell squats and shit.
Some people are just like genetically blessed though.
Like
I have friends that are genetically blessed, and I'm like, you know what? I had to work for it, so like I'm jealous of that.
Okay, we're gonna bring up this topic because it relates to this, and it's kind of a fiery topic, which I've talked about on multiple podcasts. The plus size models.
Okay.
This is the thing. Let me start it with this.
I feel like I'm gonna offend people, but let's do it.
That's the point, as far as I'm concerned. Is like, you know, just you can take in some opinions that you don't agree with. It's okay, you'll live. But all right, so you have a model, who don't. I know beautiful models who don't work out, don't go to the gym, they smoke weed all day and hang out. I know some models like that. I know models who work constantly on their body and just are so concerned with with being perfect, basically, so they can being perfect in their eyes, right? And they gone through years of working out and working to get to this level, right? And then you have a plus size model who, in my opinion, I don't know, I don't think they want to be overweight. I don't know, who am I to speak for them, right? I don't know if they want to. I just don't see that being the same on the same level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm assuming you didn't work as hard as this other girl who worked 10 years to like maybe make her body a certain way and like to look to fit a standard that maybe shouldn't even be there in the first place. An objectification, most likely. But at the same time, like, it's not the same, I don't think. Right? Like,
I think Joe Rogan talked about this before, and it really like shed light on what I actually think, because I felt like I was thinking things because I felt like I felt bad judging. But like I actually feel like if the point of a model, what is the point of a model?
To advertise.
Yeah, and it's to appeal to people, right?
Exactly.
It's for like visual attractiveness. It's to visually appeal to people. It's like, if I look at male models, I want to look at male models that look good. You know what I mean? That I would be attracted to in real life. So I just think it's so counterintuitive to like make people feel like everybody's included, but also contradict the purpose of like the role. It's like hiring somebody bad at basketball because you feel bad for everybody that's bad at basketball.
It's to
be on like the NBA
participation trophies.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah.
Do we have to include everybody in everything?
Yeah.
Like, there should be things that people aren't included in, right? Like, yeah, and it's like, your kid shouldn't get a trophy if he fucking lost.
Yeah.
Like, my kid shouldn't get a trophy if he lost.
Yeah.
If he does, I'm going to throw it out and tell him he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's me playing devil's advocate without my kid staring here crying at me. Like, I don't have a kid, but if I did.
Jordan Peterson, right?
Yeah.
Stuff. That's what he talks about a lot.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah. Accountability. Yeah. Make your bed. So I agree with what you said, and I think from a female's perspective too, it's a different perspective than a guy's going to think about it. I just think that's fine. I don't have a problem with, I think Nike did it. I don't have a problem with Nike doing that. I don't have a problem with people seeing overweight people seeing somebody overweight in workout clothes and wanting those clothes. Now they have workout clothes that they can wear and go to the gym with. 100%. That's amazing. Yeah. I want that to happen. Yeah. If it creates good from it, go for it, right? Yeah. Like, I'm all for that. But I think that models who are, that's their job, they have such a standard to live by, right? Yeah. Like, say they do diet, exercise, all this shit. Like, they just, you know, like, their bodies are their product, right? And they go through all this work. And then and I don't want to speak for them. I kind of am. But, you know, I need to talk to them actually and get see what they think about it. But then if you saw, like, exactly what you're saying, like, if you're like LeBron, yeah, and like just to throw, like, and then they have somebody who's just absolutely terrible.
Yeah. What is the purpose of a model, and what is the perfect, like, what are they looking for? Like, what's the goal? You know what I mean? Like, what is the purpose? That's why I was comparing.
First of all, let's break it down. It's advertising. It has nothing to do with your opinion. It has nothing to do with anybody's. It has nothing to do with allowing people to, you know, get, like, motivate. It's literally straight up statistics and science of what is, you're right, what is going to attract people to buy this product. And what works is
to look at something and be like, I want to look like that. Yeah. That's what makes me buy things.
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and and you want to, because that's the example that you're setting for your company as well. Yeah. And I don't think it's a bad PR move. I think any PR move that allows your company to stir the pot is a good one. Yep. And I think bad publicity is good publicity. You know, any publicity is good publicity for the most part. Yeah.
So they're challenging a standard, and it's like creating waves and definitely like causing people to pay attention.
And I like that. Yeah. But I think there's people who would have a negative something critical to say about it, not because they want to judge anybody, but just because that's their industry and that's their job. We're sitting back talking for models who are in a completely different realm, right? Like there's people who are like, no, we need all plus size models everywhere. It's like, what about the models? Yeah. Like, what about the agencies hiring them? What is, like, you know, will we see more? We're going to have to wait and see, I guess. Will other companies follow suit? They haven't yet, as far as I know.
Like, I feel like a topic that's related to this is, like, when they say, like, no Photoshop, no airbrushing, and they show, like, girls that are in all different, like, they show, like, genuine bodies without touching them up. And, like, I support that because I think that that's, like, good to see, but it's also, like, I'm okay if they, like, touch up bodies and Photoshop them too. Like, it doesn't change, like, my perspective of myself. I'm not like, how dare you how dare you do that? Now I hate my body. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. It comes back to, like, Gary Vee shit. Like, it's not like, why like, everybody wants to point blame for shit that they have nothing to do with. Yeah. It happens all the time. But it feels good. Yeah. It feels good to have an excuse, you know? Yeah. You can make good excuses or bad excuses, I feel like.
That's true.
And because I was thinking about that last night, just, like, randomly, and I was just like, you know, like, there's two types of excuses always. Like, we gotta, like, have both sides of it. Like, you can make an excuse to be happy or an excuse to be mad and like, outraged about things.
That's true.
But I think the best thing you could do, I guess, is, like, just understand where you're coming from. And, like, because everybody, like what Joe said multiple times is, like, all the time, is, like, everybody is just a culmination of all their experiences. Yeah. And, like, I have been on a podcast where I was on a podcast with this girl and my friend Joe, and she told me that only white people can be racist and that black people and all the other colored people can't be racist. It's impossible, right? So, and I'm white and the people sitting next to me are black, which is fine. You know, they're African American or wherever they're from. They're my friends. I love them. But now I'm in a position where I'm like, I don't know what, am I supposed to defend, like, all white people, or, like, what am I supposed to do, right? Yeah. And so I think, like, what are you accomplishing there? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is so weird. I've never been in this position, which is part of the reason why I do podcasts, because I like to be in positions where, you know, I don't necessarily agree with people. And that put me on the spot, and I got defensive. Like, you can go watch it too. And I did get defensive because, first of all, I didn't know what to do. Yeah. Second of all, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. Like, is like, well, no. Like, I said no, because that's just not true. Do you know that, you know, the richest black people owned black slaves? Like, you would not know history then, and I just know some history, so I would know that, but that doesn't matter. It's like, and she wanted what did she want? She wanted the word racism, the definition changed. to that, right? So now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, change it. It doesn't matter. I don't care what the definition of Webster's dictionary says. It doesn't matter to me, right?
Yeah.
If changing a word is going to change it all for you and that's what's going to make you happy, just do it, But I think we're in this culture now where you could have these crazy wild. To me, that's a crazy wild idea, right? Yeah. Because I've had black people be racist to me, and you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not. But that's my experience. Maybe to her, I explained the situation to her. No, she doesn't agree that they were racist to me, right?
Yeah.
So and which is just such a touchy subject anyway.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't care on this podcast.
I think
it doesn't matter.
People's
to me.
Triggers reveal their inner. It reveals a lot about them. You know what I mean?
So and it did for me too. And I did a lot of thinking.
For you to get triggered, then you reflect it and you're like, wow, you realize a lot of things, which is good because a lot of people will get triggered and then continually get defensive over that topic. And I think when you put your guard up, when you get defensive over something, it's really important to reflect and be like, what is it about me and my views and my insecurities that led me to react that way?
Yes.
Exactly.
That's it. That gave me a realization of first of all, that's a hard position, I think, for me. For myself, I've never been in that position where I had to defend that. You know, I'm like, this is very weird that I have to defend this, right? Or do I have to? Should I just agree?
Yeah.
It's weird because if you don't agree, it's like you have to defend it.
Yeah.
If you do agree, then you have to. It's like there's no.
Yeah.
There's no proper way.
You could be like, maybe.
Yeah, exactly, and that's probably what I should have said.
Yeah.
But now
that's hard to do.
She was very good. She understands her point and has, she has constructed her argument and respect for that. She's a good person. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
That she's not, and I probably didn't. I could have articulated my point better.
Yeah.
But I've never had to think about that even.
You
before.
thought a whole race was being attacked and you had to defend them.
Exactly. And I didn't, right?
You are the speaker for all white people.
That's what I'm saying. Right now, and I'm and my friend Joe, I love Joe. My friend Joe, he's got his own podcast too. It's called the Raw OJ Podcast. Check it out. And you could see the episode too, and we have good clips from that episode as well. And we talk about race, and that was the point of the episode.
Yeah.
And I told him about an experience that I had with with my manager and how I thought that she was being racist to me and and my friend, she didn't see it that way. But at the end of the day, I guess it's very subjective.
Yeah.
Especially, and I don't think that we should shy away from these topics because I think that's the point, Yeah. And I think we have to talk about these things because. And I like that she brought it up because we have to. There's no, if we don't, then it's lost. It's gone.
Yeah.
Then there's always has to be opposing sides, I guess.
Yeah.
And rant, but.
And rant.
That just sparked that for some reason. But.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to challenge boundaries, challenge what, I don't know, challenge what people. Anything where people are there's groups of people and there's labeling, I think that should be challenged because I feel people shouldn't label and people shouldn't judge based off of I don't know how to explain it. But I've just been doing a lot. I feel a lot of self-reflecting on how I think about other people because I feel when I was younger, especially in high school, I would just be this person does this thing, I'm judging you a lot for that one thing, or this person does this, I'm judging you.
I've lost friendships because of that.
Yeah, you just think of people differently.
On both sides, I've said one sentence. Don't talk to they won't talk to me for 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
Which is absurd.
It's just absurd, and it hasn't really happened to me. There's people that I just chose not to talk to because of things they said, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you start to think why am I basing off? What am I basing this off of?
Yeah.
Is it just? Am I even consciously? Aware of it, it's a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever, well, it's that anxiety that you have, when somebody, or if that I have when somebody says, when she said that, I feel I got anxiety.
Yeah.
And then it's why is that happening? I'm I'm fine though.
Yeah.
And then that brought my whole emotions with it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because people like Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris, Joe does this most of the time they control their emotions. All of them.
Yeah. I've been really working on not getting triggered. And if I do feel triggered, like, not showing it, maybe, like, thinking about why I feel that way. And it's been, like, awesome to, like, see the effects from it, because I feel like, in general, just the way I think about life has changed for that reason, because when I was younger, I'd get, like, I thought how my parents thought, and my parents think very, like, they're not extremely close-minded, but they're pretty close-minded.
Like linear,
like you can,
like it kind of just like takes a
black and white. Yeah. Like, this is bad, this is good.
Good or bad. Yeah,
like,
no gray
telling
areas.
me, like, oh, you should date this type of person and not date this type of person. Like, you should major in this and not major in that. Everybody experiences this, right? Like, especially,
and they want the best for you too.
Yeah. It's because they want to control my life because they love me.
To make sure it turns out
good. Yeah, because they think they know the answers, which is when I grew up and I understood that, I stopped resenting them for trying to control my life. But where was I even going with this? At the same time, like, I realized that I had all these preconceived notions of bad and good and, like, what should be and what should not be. And I started challenging them and started thinking, like, okay, I'm getting triggered because this person is this type of way and my parents said, like, I should be this type of way. And maybe I shouldn't be triggered because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know what I mean?
And our parents, like, instill a lot of that that we don't even realize, too.
Yeah.
And you'll think about somebody one way because your parents thought about it that way, and you didn't even realize you're doing that.
You're continually going to realize that, like, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and you have to, and you're, like, conscious, you're, like, always building up, like, new profiles of like, I feel like every new person that I talk to, I'm like, oh, there's a person that way. I didn't know that there was a person that was that way.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, back to some, like, non-hippy-dippy shit, like I said, I'm not trying to preach some fucking, like, find yourself shit.
I love hippy-dippy shit,
always, though. Yeah, I fuck with it. Not, like, that deep, but pretty deep, like, to the point where I think just the self-awareness and, like you said, the preconceived notion, the like, bias, the limiting, everybody's biased, right? Like, you have to, like, another thing that Stockton has, like, they have all these signs that say bias-free. Fuck that. Fuck all that. Life is not bias-free. Yeah. People are not bias-free. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's literally impossible.
It's literally impossible.
Like, inclusion club? No. Get excluded. It's good for you.
Yeah.
If you I don't want to be in every fucking club. Yeah. I want to apply to some shit and they don't let me in. So then I could say, why didn't...
Yeah, the times I've gotten rejected is the times I've learned the most in life.
Exactly, right? You get rejected by whatever, significant other or whatever, you know, or anybody, or... Yeah, whether it's on a dating level or it's on, you know, a relationship level or people or a club or whatever, a school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good, and I think there's too much. I think people think that they have to be so PC so everybody, like, likes them or something.
Some South Park shit.
Some PC principle bullshit, which I've talked about. We live in a PC principle culture
out here.
And how I can't come on here and talk about my conversation about race, you know, like, most... I think I've seen some podcasts where, like, it's obvious that they're just trying to act like, you know, they're trying to be like comedians.
Yeah.
On the podcast.
Yeah.
And they're, like, joking, like, they think everything's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like, I get that, you know, I get that. But you just gotta, if you're not cool with yourself, then you're fucked. Like, you can't help anybody. Like, you can't, and, like, not everybody's 100% cool with themselves, especially at this age. But, yeah, it's like, it's self-awareness, mandatory, Gary shit.
Yeah, it is extremely important. Yeah, do it. Become self-aware.
Shia LaBeouf, baby. Just fucking do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, I was talking about this with my friend yesterday about self-awareness, and, like, so many people lack it. You know, so many people think that. So many people don't realize, like, why they think the things that they think. Yeah. They don't realize, like, why they do the things that they do, and once you start questioning yourself and once you start digging deeper into those things, like, you are going to have a lot of realizations about yourself and you're going to change, you know? It's, like, something that everybody should be doing, like, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditating, like, whatever you're doing.
That's what it was, meditating for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. 100%. That, every morning I try to do it. There might be 2 days a week or one that I don't, but, there's just, every morning I just try to not think. And then it's crazy. Then that helps me with my thinking for the rest of the day. Which
really?
You would would think is not, and I've talked about this on here before of, like...
It's like getting in touch with yourself.
Exactly. Or, like, and just realizing the thoughts that you have and the thoughts that aren't you at all.
Yeah.
And making that differentiation, because you can't believe all your thoughts. They're not you.
I follow the holistic psychologist. I don't know if you follow her. She's amazing. But she says, you are not your thoughts.
You're not, yeah.
And honestly, I used to struggle with anxiety. And once I started thinking that, it relieved so much anxiety. I was like, I'm not my thoughts.
You have
my
anxiety
brain can think
about
whatever
the anxiety.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
And which, who was this? Somebody, I forget his name. He was on Joe at some point, too. I was listening to, he's like, I think he's from, like, the UK. Mm-hmm. He just does a lot of work with addiction, and which, obviously, depression, anxiety leads to that. Yeah. And it always comes from it, usually. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, you'll have crippling anxiety from your crippling anxiety. So it's like a double whammy.
A vicious cycle.
Of, and I've never had it that bad. Like, actually, like, in the beginning of the summer, I, like, weirdly had it for, like, no reason. Like, no reason that I could, but there is no reason, really, a lot of the times. Or, like, not a reason you can consciously understand. Yeah. But, you know, simultaneously, or maybe because correlation, like, that was also when I stopped meditating. And I wasn't about my health as much. Yeah. And so maybe that's why, you know, maybe there's like a certain maintenance that I have to do to just not go down that path, you know, or something.
Like the way I think about anxiety and depression and things like that, like I think some people might have like diagnosed depression, might have like diagnosable mental illness, but I think a lot of it is people, like when you label yourself as having anxiety, you make an excuse for yourself to think that way for the rest of your life and feel unhappy for the rest of your life. And when I was first feeling anxious feelings, I was like, I have anxiety. I went to the doctor. She was like, you have anxiety. I was like, I have anxiety. And I would make that excuse for a lot of things. Like, oh, I have anxiety. I'm stressed. I
can't do this.
Yeah.
I have anxiety.
Yeah. I'm unhappy today. I have anxiety. Like it's out of my control. Yeah. It's the excuse. And, like, I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear that, like, that anxiety is probably something that you can conquer and something that I think it usually has a reason. But I started, like, digging deeper within the last few months of, like, why did I struggle with that so much? And part of it was, like, I have, like, anxious attachment to people. Part of it was, like, I was not doing what I want to do for me. I was doing it because I thought that I had to, or doing, like, I
think it's harder for girls, too.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
You think
I just think that, I don't know, I feel like it might set the stage easier than if you're a guy. I think if you're a guy, and also, don't get me wrong, if you're a guy, there is a standard of, like, you have to be confident and you have to look this way and that. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's different by genders, 100%, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. I never thought about it, to be honest. I think, like, as women, like, we're always, like, Jordan Peterson was talking about how there's, I don't know what country or city it is, but basically, like, it's a place where it's very, like, gender equal, and, like, women don't feel like basically women and men are equal.
Less standards.
Yeah, and in that society, a lot of women went more into health fields, and more of them became nurses, and more of them just did what they wanted to do and did, like, the feminine jobs because that's what they actually wanted to do. But I think in this society, women are always trying to prove themselves.
Well, it's the James Damore memo. Have you seen that?
No.
Google memo?
No.
So there's this guy that worked at Google, James Damore, and he created this memo, and he was like an engineer. Very, very smart guy. He's been on Joe, too. He made this memo of why there aren't females in tech, and why they're not attracted to technology, right?
This is interesting because I'm a mechanical engineer.
There you go. Yeah. And he cited studies.
Okay.
And he had like 2.5 pages, 3 pages on how they can get more females to get into tech. And it wasn't because of the patriarchy or any of these cultural things. Like, he just went for the straight science, right? Because Google asked all their employees, even their engineers, if you have a suggestion for us, then you know, let us know, right? So he made an entire memo. He got fired for that. By just stating studies, basically, of why women, like you said, gravitate towards more different things. They just like different things. Isn't that... So that's like the cultural aspect of it is like, I don't feel bad if I say that, you know, I don't want to say that girls shouldn't be in a certain field, right? But I'm 100% going to say that they like different things.
Well, what did the study say? Do you remember?
I don't remember all the details. You could
Jamie.
It's good to me. Yeah, Jamie, what up? I get my fucking, if I get my hat backwards, like, start fucking rolling my sleeves up, start doing MMA. But no, I don't remember it exactly. I think it basically said that they just don't gravitate towards it as much. Like that they just they gravitate more towards nursing.
Yeah, like, we nurture. We have like a certain quality, a certain
temperament, certain quality, certain, and like So I don't know. This would be good to get your take on too. But like, you know how basically is like capitalism is like a patriarchy and it's all like rich white men and
sure, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything stopping girls from doing that? Like, is there like a wall where they can't put like a door they can't open that only guys can
going into tech and going into like STEM fields? You mean?
I mean that relates more to you, so yeah. Like, or on that note, yeah. What do you think about that?
Okay.
Yeah, and you're in a field that that would be good for you to.
Yeah. So. Talk about. This is an interesting thing because I've really.
There's a lot of things to it, I bet.
Yeah. So I'm a mechanical engineer. I started as exercise science, and 2 years in, I was like, I shadowed an occupational therapist, and I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I'm really good at calculus and physics. What's like the best major to do that involves that where I can make good money and
enjoy your job? And
yeah. So I chose engineering, and it was like I got a lot of pushback from people for like switching into engineering so late, blah blah blah. Anyway, a lot of my classes, like, I'm the only girl sitting in like within 3 rows, and like the rows are like I go to Rutgers, the lecture
like lecture.
Yeah, there's like 150 kids in like my higher level classes, so the intro classes were like even more. Yeah. But it would be like 1 to 10, like maybe 10% were girls. And I started thinking a lot, like, why that is, like, why do girls not major in mechanical engineering? I started, like, projecting that, like, telling girls, like, do engineering, like, you can do it, like, blah, blah, blah.
Don't think you can.
Yeah, but nope, it's not, that's not the reason. I really think it's just because, like, there's no appeal, you know what I mean? Like, mechanical engineers, like, what do they work on? They work on, like, whether it's, like, planes, cars, like, engines, they work on... they could work on a variety of things, but like that's why guys go into the field, is to work on machines.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that guys are more mechanically inclined.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I cannot think of a time where I wondered how a car worked. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And I could like pull an engine out doing time.
Yeah.
Like yeah. That's just how it is.
Yeah. And so It makes me question why I picked my major. I think I was trying to prove something. Like, my whole life, I think I was always trying to prove something. Like, through lifting heavy weights, through, like, always being, like, one of the guys, like, whatever. I could get deep into that. But I really just think it's human nature.
So nobody's stopping you from being a mechanical engineer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so like, this is what, that's, like, part of, and I thank you for having that, for explaining your perspective on it. Because that's another reason why I do this, too. Because I don't know, like, I can't explain, I can't defend that perspective.
I will say once I got into that position, I did feel a lot of pushback from males. Mm-hmm.
Like, pushback as in you shouldn't be there?
Yeah.
Okay. So that happens.
Yeah, a lot. But it didn't prevent me from going into the field. And it's not the reason why people don't do it.
Sure. And it's not like a male nurse is going to get pushback from female. Like, I don't think so. It's possible.
They might.
It's possible. They might.
Yeah.
But if you're different, people look at you differently, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're the odd one out, basically. You know, just by the nature of the thing itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's very important to note that there's nobody stopping you. Like people always want to put blame on whoever's trying to stop them.
Yeah.
Whether it's the patriarchy or it's like, you know, corporate business owners, like the guy who owns IBM is trying to stop you from work. Like he's not. He doesn't care about you can work for him if you're a female, I bet, and make a living and support your family and you know.
Yeah.
So that is a limiting belief too of like you like people want to put the cause on it, you know, and that makes it easy for them to say, well, they're just misogynistic. And, you know, like who cares if they are?
Yeah.
They're still people.
Yeah.
And you can, and if like what I always say is like, you know, when people are like complaining on Twitter or something, like, which I've done in my past, you know, and everybody has, but or most people, like, just let them be. Like, they're just not out
It's not personal.
Yeah, it's not personal. They're not going to apply for the job that you're applying to.
If I can have one quote I say all the time is, it's not personal.
It's not personal, yeah.
It's always about the person that is doing the thing and not about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you could go and be a mechanical engineer, and you could be a girl, you could be a guy, you could be whatever. You could be, a foxkin. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny because, like, it's weird to, like, say, like, there's nothing holding me back when, like, I do experience a lot of like, criticism and, like, looking down upon in my classes, and, like, in my job it's not as bad, but, like, yeah, like,
and I think that happens a lot with guys and with males and females. I think that's true. That's 100%. There's people who are misrepresented and not treated fairly. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. But that didn't, like, hold me back. Like, I of course it would annoy me, but
But if you let it get to you, then you'd be letting them dictate what happens. Yeah. So
it's like I think it was also, like, I was, like, a great student. You know what I mean? Like, I went to Rutgers on a scholarship. I was in the honors college, and the fact that I, like, had the honors college name attached to me because it's the top, like, 1% or whatever of, like my class.
Best students.
Yeah, like, people just always felt like they had to challenge me. Like, people felt like they had to, like, do better than me, and, like, oh, like, you're an honors college student. Yeah, and I'm a female. Like, I experienced a lot through. I always had groups of guy friends I would study with. If I did better than them on an exam, if I was explaining something to them, it was an issue.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize, like, it's more about their insecurities, because at first I would get extremely triggered about it. And I was like, you know what? One, I don't have to prove myself. Whether I do better than them or not on an exam doesn't mean anything. And two, like, I don't, if I'm explaining something to somebody because they ask me a question and then they don't like that I'm explaining something to somebody, like, I should just stop. Like, I shouldn't be helping I don't know.
You shouldn't be helping them anyway at this point, right?
Yeah. So
I come from the perspective of girls on a when it comes to school, I think girls care more a lot most of the time. I don't know.
Debatable.
I could be wrong. Debatable.
Since I'm around all guys all the time that are engineers that care a lot, that's debatable. I care less than a lot of the guys I'm around.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I just feel like it's maybe they don't care more. Girls have a different standard for themselves.
Okay.
Than guys do, and everybody has a different standard for themselves individually. Yeah. Right. But I don't know. Girls always have nicer handwriting, I think. I'm just, like, because I tried to get my handwriting nicer, and I didn't realize you have to actually try to make it nicer.
Yeah.
I never realized
You thought you were just, like, born with a handwriting
Exactly.
type?
But then I realized I just read 100 miles an hour and don't care.
Yeah.
And there was girls that in 7th grade had beautiful, and I'm like, but they literally stopped and took their time.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys are always trying to, like, fuck it, let's just get this shit down.
Yeah.
And I'm making blanket generalizations. None of them might be true.
Yeah. My handwriting sucks and I go really fast, but, like.
Yeah, but maybe on an average.
That's a trend, I think.
It's trend, it's trend, and maybe, like, if you polled people, maybe girls care more about what their handwriting looks like, the same way they care about what their nails look like more than guys. Like,
I don't know.
It could
I
just
think
be a cultural
they
thing.
just like studying from things that look nice, makes them feel good. You know what I mean?
Or have, like, a nice notebook, but I don't know. I know a ton of guys who love nice notebooks. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care if it bleeds through to the next page. Like, I'll just flip the page. You know? It's I'm glad that you can explain that perspective because like I said, I don't know, and plus I'm not really I'm in tech, but I'm in tech like startup corporate like tech, but I'm not in the STEM field, so it was just not really the same.
Even like my job, like there's only a few women. Like now there's a lot more. They hired a lot of women since like my last summer internship till now. I'm at the same place. And since last summer when I came back now, there's so many more women.
Do you know why?
It's definitely.
Do you think they have like some kind of like we have to hire a certain amount of women, or?
I think it has to be because I don't think that there's been much of an increase in the amount of women going into engineering. And I've felt a lot of pressure from. Not pressure, but there's one of the female managers really tries to like take me under her wing and be like, as women we have to support each other and blah blah blah, and like I get it, like you're trying to like look out for me and like whatever, but like at the same time it's not that I'm like I don't know. How do I explain this?
No, it's you
so
could
much
a guy could
thing.
basically do the same thing though. Like a guy could she could say that to you, and then there could be a guy you work for that you look up to just because he's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, you could just it just could happen to be like this guy just is an amazing engineer, and how does he do that?
Yeah.
I want to know how. I just like his style more or something.
Yeah. The people I look up to in my department, other than I work with my cousin, she's brilliant, she's amazing.
That's awesome,
but like other than that, like a lot of them are males just because like the sheer amount. You know what I mean? And I don't think of it any differently. Like I look up to their leadership style, like their competency, like how their drive. But like I didn't want when she said that to me, I didn't want it to be like I'm a woman and I'm different. Like I didn't want to think that way. And I know like people think that way, but like I don't want to be treated differently. I don't want to think, oh well, I'm a woman, I have to look out for myself. Like I should just, I don't know, just be assertive because I want to be.
I think the world it's gonna change, and it is changing now. And I think we should be honest about, you know, the obvious differences of like if which I've seen this on like LinkedIn posts and people arguing about it before of like if a woman's gonna have a kid, you know, should that impact you hiring her or not? Or and I'm not a hiring manager. I'm just not in that world as much. I just don't really know what the answer is.
Yeah.
But I think that's gonna be like, you know, they should have paid leave for that. You know? I mean, that's just a thing. You know, you can't judge people on like, you know, if they have a child, right? I mean, that's just their decision. You have nothing. That has nothing to do with me. But I think our work, like the work world, is trying to figure out what to do. It's like, oh, we can't say that they are different, but we can't say that they're not different.
Yeah.
Because they obviously are. Yeah. But, you know, so it's like this weird thing where, like, companies are trying to figure out, like, because they have 790 employees, you know? So it's like they have to have, like, a standard for all of them or something, you know? It's a weird spot right now.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I think women are definitely, obviously different than men. I just didn't want, like, when my manager came up to me, I didn't want to feel like we have like a pact because we're different. You know what I mean?
Like fuck them, don't worry about what they're doing. We got it.
Yeah, like I got you. Like I don't know.
Like I want you to have my respect and I want you to help me, but I also don't want to feel like you're like the only person that can help.
Yeah, or like you're just helping me because you want to keep women in the office. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that that you think I'm a good engineer just because you want to keep the woman around. That way it's... Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's like that diversity and inclusion shit, though, that a lot of companies will do. And
they do that in my department.
What Google was trying to do is, you know, we need... And I'm not saying this is what they did, but they're like, you know, we need a certain percentage of Asian people, a certain percentage of African Americans, a certain percentage of blah, blah, blah. Like, that seems way... Like, people aren't... That's making people numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's weird. I don't like that.
Yeah, and it's like what you're basing employment off of, like something that doesn't even mean anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's arbitrary.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like,
it's so subjective.
Yeah, it's so subjective. Yeah, it's like back to the. It's like just like why, and it's like Harvard has a different standard for Asians, of like their acceptance to Harvard.
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they actually denied more Asians because their test scores were higher. This is just a thing that happened. I'm not defending
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine an Asian kid who gets the same scores as either of us, right? We got accepted.
Yeah.
And just because people in his culture did better, like that's
absurd.
What is that?
Yeah.
So that is like the battle of. I think in the next 5-10 years, it's gonna work itself out. I think we have to make sure we don't have the exception define the rule, but at the same token, acknowledge the exception, understand that it's real.
Yeah.
Understand that there's people who are exceptions, but if we're making a general rule, then you know the exception can't define that.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, it's obviously very situational, but
yeah.
But yeah, I think just I don't know. I feel like more conversations like this of just like sitting down and talking to people about it is good. And I think that's what companies should do. Because imagine if a CEO can never, which I talk to CEOs all the time. Some of them will, but we never talk about this, obviously, because it's too, charged. But, if a CEO did that, like there would just be, if I was a CEO in my company and I said all the things I said today, which weren't like crazy things really, there'd be people getting fired left and right and everything, right?
Yeah.
So,
protests.
But if I say it, it's like, I'm just me, you know? Yeah, and protest. Yeah, everything. Ban this company. All these things. So, but I guess I guess it will work itself out. I assume.
I don't know. I think race has been a sensitive issue since as long as we can remember, and I don't know. I don't see itself like
and not all races are treated equally in this country. Yeah. There's a whole lot. That's a whole lot to go. Yeah. It goes deep. It goes deep and far. Yeah. And a couple hundred years back, and it for real. But like I said, subjects that you gotta talk about, in my opinion. Yeah. You know, because if you shy away from them, that's not like how are we gonna ever get better? How are we gonna ever like decide like like we're always trying to get to like a fairer, more fair place, like in a more, you know, more people happy and doing what they want to do. Yeah. But yeah, that's the game, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, there is a lot.
I could talk in this podcast for probably like 6 hours, honestly. Like I could keep going. But, yeah. We're at an hour and a half. I fucked up the beginning.
Yeah, how much did you?
Sorry, I fucked up.
How much did you not record?
40 minutes. We got 40 minutes of the last. We got the last 40 minutes. Okay. The first 50 is I'm sorry. Yeah. It's on your Instagram though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
it is.
I'm gonna send people there.
Oh yeah, if they they can. It'll be on my story for the next 24 hours.
Okay, so if you're watching this now, next 24 hours, be on our story.
Jasmine Sawagedd.
If not, thank you for watching this far, and yeah, BopCast.
BopCast.
Where can people find you? What is it? It's just your name, right? Your Instagram name?
Yeah, it's Jasmine Sawagedd with an extra D at the end.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. That I'll have it in the comments and everything, show notes. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. Good conversation for sure. I fucked it up, so I won't do that next time. No, I'll have you back, obviously. So.
Yeah. I'm so down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been BopCast episode 11. We're on all podcast platforms, even the ones nobody uses. Anchor, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, all the bullshit. Yeah, we're on there, YouTube especially. So make sure you subscribe and check Jasmine out. She's doing a lot of good things. So, all right, folks, catch you in the next one.